Welcome to A Day for Adventure, the premier outdoor podcast that'll get you off your butt and outside. I'm Will.
I'm Ben.
And I'm Trevor.
And today we will be talking about cooking and meal prep mistakes. Primarily 5. And why are we talking about it? Because they suck. And really, they can get you sick and kind of make your experience miserable because you don't know how to act in a kitchen. Luckily, if you don't follow these mistakes, you'll be better than some. Alrighty, mistake number 1, neglecting proper food storage. So there are a few important rules with food storage. 1, keep perishables cold so they don't spoil. Self-explanatory. If you're going car camping or going for a weekend camp, just like you'd refrigerate some of your meat and vegetables, put them in coolers. But don't put them in the same cooler, because no cross-contamination. Because you do not want food poisoning when you likely don't have an awesome bathroom. And it's also not fun to replace food. I remember one of the first times I was leading a camp out, I had to use hamburger meat in our Ironman because in the night before, we failed to pack it in the cooler and put it in a paper bag. That did not end well.
So wait, Will, you're saying keep the meat and vegetables separate in cold storage? Like when they're sitting in the coolers?
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if my troop ever did that.
We always kept usually meat and dairy together and then any sort of vegetables in a different cooler separate.
my troop just probably didn't eat vegetables. That sounds like us.
Yeah, that's a healthy diet right there. Yeah. Oh, boy.
Meat and potatoes is all you need.
You already know my stance on vegetables, but the important thing is you don't want to replace your food and you don't want to be in the bathroom or in a bush all day in the woods.
Oh, man. Yeah, definitely agree with that. So the second mistake that so many people make when they're just ill-informed and they don't understand what they're doing about cooking in general is involving cast iron. And that is when they're cleaning cast iron, putting soap into a cast iron pan. Okay. Besides the side effect, or the sound effect that I just made, why would you not put soap into a cast iron pan? Well, so the thing about soap is that soap breaks down oil. And the thing about oil involving cast iron is oil is used as something to basically coat, preserve, and protect you from the iron in the cast iron pan. And it protects the bottom of your pan from getting completely coated in burned material. So it almost makes sense to do everything you can to make sure that the oil that you oil your pan with stays oiled, okay? By putting soap, especially dish detergent, specifically the type that removes grease, will completely erode all of the oils that are inside of the pores of cast iron. And what that does is it breaks down and actually weakens the cast iron pan. It makes it far more likely to rust, and that's both dangerous and pretty unhealthy unless you really, really need a boost of iron in your diet. I don't recommend eating out of a non-oiled cast iron pan. And unless you want your food to all turn red, the same thing applies. So if you want to wash out a cast iron pan when you're done using it and you got stuff crud all over the bottom of it and all that kind of stuff, scratch the soap. I've seen people put soap in cast iron pans and it's ruined it. Okay. They don't even realize they ruined it. They're just like, why is all this stuff red? Okay. To avoid that, start off by putting a bunch of water in. No soap, no nothing. Just well water, tap water. I mean, you could even get like straight H2O if you really wanted to. Okay. Put that into your cast iron pan and get the water boiling. Okay. Once the water has boiled, you are going to pour the water out. You are going to wipe the entire pan out with a cloth or with a Scotch-Brite pad or something like that. Don't use a wire brush or anything like that. That actually can also do some damage to the bottom of cast iron. And what you're going to do, if you can't get the food stuff out of the bottom, you give it another shot with boiling clean water. And if it won't come out after like maybe 2 or 3 times, then odds are it's completely sterile. So don't worry about it, okay? Then you're going to heat the pan up once you've removed all the water and cleaned it out. You're going to heat the pan up again where there's still a little bit of standing water, and you're going to heat it until all the water in the bottom of the dish or your pan or whatever is gone, okay? Then finally, you're going to take it off the heat. You're going to take a cloth. You're going to put some canola oil or something else like it on that, and you're just going to wipe the entire pan while it's still hot, okay? Then if you want to, you can put it on top of the burner when it's not on or whatever, right? And it's going to slowly cool off. Then when you're done, just put a rag on the top of it if you've got like a Dutch oven or right in between, just to soak up any possible water that might still be in there. That will stop your cast iron pan from rusting. It's going to protect your equipment. It's going to save you a lot of money in the long run. And it's going to make the performance of your cast iron so much better. And you're not going to throw out your cast iron pan because you can't seem to figure out how to use it. So please save a cast iron pan and don't put soap in it.
Yeah, so as you can tell, us outdoorsy people like to make our lives harder. You know, sleeping in tents or under the stars or in a pile of leaves instead of in a house, or using probably the hardest pan known or to clean known to man. Also heavier than a normal pan. Yes, those are our favorites for cooking. I mean, I guess if you're cooking in hot coals, which a Dutch oven, which is also made out of cast iron, that it's great because a normal pan would melt. But talking about hot coals, well, whether it be hot coals or your propane stove, trekking stove, whatever you have, don't neglect your basic fire safety. And you think, but we're cooking. Why do we have to worry about a campfire? Well, like I said, we like to make our lives harder. So cooking on coals of campfire are fun. And if you do something that my great friend, who definitely is not in this chat or call or podcast, that's the word, did, and put an oven mitt by the coals of the fire, you're going to have a great time. Right? Nameless person.
Yeah, it would be a shame if you lost an oven mitt.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyway,
it's better than losing your eyebrows.
True.
Oh, yeah.
And there are 2 great ways, terrible ways to lose your eyebrows. And first off is just dousing something that whatever you're going to make your fire out of in lighter fluid. Or, taking one of those squeeze bottles of lighter fluid and putting it straight onto the fire so that the little line catches on fire and runs all the way back up to your container. I've never seen it happen, but it's possible, and then that thing will blow up in your hands.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then the second way to lose eyebrows, which I have watched because I used to teach kids how to use white gas stoves.
Oh,
I knew that get a reaction.
I know where this
is going. We're this thing called pour. So we use whatever gear we have, and white gas is what we have, so it's what we use. So especially with white gas, but some other stoves are like this. Obviously, when you're turning like your camping stove on, you turn the gas on first, and then you light the match. But if you leave the gas on for too long and then go to light your match, it's just poof, fireball. And most kids put their face over the stovetop to make sure, that the match hits the giant stovetop that they're trying to light. And it just goes poof, right into their face.
I've seen that happen, not with white gas, but with propane stove. I saw somebody who was my age, who was also pretty experienced, make that same mistake with propane 3 times in a row, every single time being told not to do it the way that he was doing it. And then
that's how it goes.
And by the way, this was being told to him by people who were like 3 years younger than him. And every time he almost burned his eyebrows off. And one time I think he actually singed the tops of them. So, pro tip, if you've got people around you who are telling you not to do something with fire because it's a dumb idea, listen to them or at least consider them. Let's talk about mistake number 4. So, number 4 is one that is almost a heresy. So, you want to make sure you don't break this one. And that is not making enough food. Okay. So, here's the thing about food. Food is really good. And food is a necessity of life. Okay? So therefore, if you are not being fed enough, you are not going to have a good time. Not having enough food is a really, really good way to lose friends in the moment or even for a long period of time. I mean, just look at every like high school and college relationship. You know how that goes. You know that all you have to do to win somebody's heart is just give them food. Come on, let's be honest here, okay? That's how important food is.
Ben, is this why she left me?
Yes, that's the reason why, okay? It's because you didn't give her enough food, okay? You didn't go to McDonald's and get her an extra thing of food every single time. That's the reason why.
Wait, going to McDonald's?
No, Culver's, even better.
I was gonna say making something.
Oh, making something.
Actually, I did that, yeah.
Okay, you're in the clear. You could have a terrible fight, and you could make some food for the night, and you're in the clear. Okay, that's just how relationships work, isn't that right? Okay.
Will's the only one sitting here with a girlfriend going, "I'm gonna get in trouble if she ever finds this channel."
About that. Anyway.
Okay.
No comment here.
Okay. Maybe
anyway, not making enough food is a really good way to lose friends. So, therefore, it's really, really important that for your own social standing, especially your social standing, not just your own personal well-being, you want to make sure that your portions of food are accurate. You know, it's better, in my opinion, it's better to make more food than less food. And if you're one of those people who doesn't want to bring too much food, I'll give you a little tip in a few seconds. But remember one thing, the more activity you do in a day, the more food you should make at the end of the day. Okay, so if you are canoeing all day, remember that having one serving of rice is not going to be enough. You might think it's enough, but it's not. So make a serving and a half or 2 servings because you're going to be hungry. And really, the truth is that it requires practice. But for those of you who haven't gotten that practice yet, I have a little tip. And it's something a very, very good friend of mine has taught me. Okay? If you know what I'm saying. Bring plenty of snacks to avoid being poorly fed. Okay? That means that if you're afraid if you're not going to bring enough food, bring an extra couple granola bars because then you can supplement the fact that you didn't bring enough food because you didn't have enough foresight to plan your food consumption, and you can supplement it with a granola bar or fruit snacks or a Mott's juice pouch
or a cheesecake.
Okay.
If you brought the snack, doesn't that mean you've brought enough food?
Yes, it does.
Ooh.
Wait.
It does. That's how you avoid not bringing enough food. Okay,
there you go.
Just bring enough snacks and you'll be fine, right?
Pocket snacks are not a joke.
If you don't have the foresight to make enough food, that's what you should do.
All right, our last numbered mistake is slacking off during cleanup because you don't want bugs or raccoons or bears. Especially if you're in the mountains, you don't want bears.
Oof.
Yeah, could end poorly. And it's also a great way to get sick. 'Cause if you don't actually clean your stuff, you're gonna end up stuff. Anyways, if you don't clean, bacteria grows, and next time you eat off that gross plate, it may not end well for you.
Yeah.
So
make sure I want to deep clean my kitchen downstairs more than clean outdoors.
So remember to scrub those pots, really get all that gunk off before you do the actual disinfecting. And then when you're done with your cleanup, make sure you dispose of your waste properly. I'm pretty sure that's a leave no trace principle, but it's also a way to not have animals chilling your site.
Yeah, I think that word for word is a leave no trace principle.
It is.
Whoa.
Probably like 7 or 8 or something. I used to know them all.
Yeah.
Or know them all in order, I should say.
Yeah, I think yeah, anyways.
Now on a
I'm
much
trying to-
spookier note, just before we go any farther with this one, I also want to say that slacking off during cleanup is also a really good way to get on the bad side of the people around you. It's not that I have done this in the past before, it's that I have seen a lot of people on camping events and other kinds of things slack off during cleanup. And I'm not saying anything specific, but to say it's a motive for murder is not an understatement. So, yeah.
verbally beat you.
Yes, that is pretty much an acceptable punishment for not doing a good enough job cleaning dishes. Okay, I've seen people like flat out lose their crap over the fact that somebody didn't clean out a pot properly or something else like that, which is why we clean things out properly. Okay, we don't slack off and clean up, because if all the things that William is saying you should do to make sure you don't like cause a problem don't kill you or don't cause a problem, the fact that somebody is going to use that equipment later is going to cause a problem.
Yeah.
So please clean up your stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of these mistakes are common, but they're not hard to avoid if you both plan and do what you need to do. A lot of these just come from not being careful or being lazy. Now, as we wrap up, are there any extra mistakes that either you've made or seen someone else make that just make you die inside?
Do not drop your entire box of dried pasta onto gravel.
Oh, no. No, that would be so cruel.
Sounds like some Pioneer seasoning to me.
Oh my god, actually, not gonna lie, it was one of the best spaghettis we had made camping, but it did have a total of 6 pebbles in it.
God.
And one kid
How
found
long
3 of him, so God bless his soul.
Oh no. That's a horrifying thought, to drop food on the ground.
That happens all the time, though.
Oh no, it definitely happens all the time, but like, don't put rocks back in with it.
Yeah, that's pretty sad.
I
Let's see.
know one.
Oh, yeah.
Not organizing your cooking space before you start working. That's one I've seen that has become a big problem, especially
I have
now in my major. I
organizational
see
skills.
that a lot. Remember, you are working with sharp objects. Remember, you're working with like big fiery things. Okay, so those are big hazards, and there's a lot of stuff to trip on. So make sure that, for the love of everything and the love of your friends and the love of your own well-being, keep your workspace relatively well organized.
I would also say be mindful of if you're using dairy or a more like creamy type of sauce, both because it burns easily and it's a bitch and a half to clean.
Ooh.
I hate having cheesy stuff
Ugh.
to clean. It is absolutely obnoxious.
All right, I got one last good one for me. Well, 2. One's a slightly common sense one. Just make sure if you decide to cook something, you know how to cook it. I don't think I really run into that problem. Me and my patrols were able to BS stuff pretty well, but that's a good tidbit. Now, the second one is a problem we have run into. Taking your morning bacon grease and saving it to brown your what the hell am I trying to think of?
Your meat?
Yeah, I was going to say the specific meat, but we'll go with that. Saving your morning bacon grease to brown your meat in for dinner is a great idea. Now, A bad idea is when you go to mix that in with your noodles, is just pouring all the grease in with it because it'll taste good, and then you'll take up every single stall in the bathroom by the campsite. It was Devil's Lake though, so they had some of the nicest bathrooms, or at least in our area they did.
It's hit or miss depending on where you're at.
But yeah, we were using every single stall.
That's,
Meanwhile, my solution to the whole bacon grease problem has always been just to pour the bacon grease into the eggs in the morning.
All of the grease?
Use bacon grease. Use the bacon grease to lubricate your pan for your eggs.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, I thought you just meant like pour it in them, and I'm like, no.
No, you don't do that.
Yeah, see, that was our problem. We were just like, oh, the meat's done. Flop into the noodles. Not
God.
just kind of like spoon it out. Just
Yeah, I don't have anything else.
yeah.
Nothing.
alrighty. This has been a day for adventure. Next time, we'll be talking about some fall camping tips. For now, get off your butt, get outside, and have a fantastic adventure.